Wandin Park proved to be yet again another fantastic 4-star short. It was a really great competition, but it was Samuel Jeffrey who was out in front after the dressage phase with Koyuna Tactician. 32.4 was their dressage score. But there was one lady who was so consistent throughout the whole competition. She was third after dressage, went on to take the win, a whole 12.1 penalties in front of second place Samantha Sesnick and Graf Tango. That, of course, was Molly Lines and her ride Tadpole. Molly, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me.
It's been an incredible weekend for you, and I know a very, very busy week as well. But let's go back to before you went to Wandin. You know, you've taken that step up to 4-star last year, and it's been a very successful step up. You've had 3 top 10 finishes since stepping up to 4-star. You were at Wandin last year, so you're familiar with the venue because you were second place in the 3-star short. How are you feeling going into the 4-star here at Wandin?
Oh, very scared. I entered it before I went to New Zealand because entries opened quite early. But I sort of thought, oh well, I'll enter it, and if everything goes well in New Zealand, I'll give it a crack. And I spoke to a couple of coaches to see whether it would be, worth doing, and they sort of thought, well, it's a short format, you may as well just give it a go. And yeah, I sort of thought, well, show jumping's first, I'll do the dressage, and then if that all goes to plan, I'll do show jumping. If that goes well, I'll do the cross country.
Give that cross country a go. Were you eyeing up the cross country when you were there last year in the 3-star short, just having a look at what it looked like?
Sort of. I was very nervous doing the 3-star cross country. It's a very intimidating looking course, I think, especially I haven't really seen, I feel quite inexperienced to be doing what I'm doing, but obviously not really seen anything like that, like the bridge and the quarry, and it's a pretty cool event. Yeah. So I was a bit scared to do the 3-star, but I was before I entered, I looked at the rider videos for the 4-star and thought it was doable.
Because how old are you? Because you are at university as well at the moment. You're very young to be at the level.
I'm 19.
19, and you've gone and won a 4-star short is just incredible.
Thank you.
Going on to the first phase, you actually produced a personal best in that first phase of 34.3. Talk us through the test. Have you been doing extra preparation as well over the winter to get that PB?
Well, I've sort of only just moved into uni, so it's been a bit of a jumble trying to work out a routine for Tadpole and how I should be training him. And I'm really lucky I've got lots of good hills at school. So he's been doing lots of hill work and probably a lot less dressage than I would normally do. And I've not worked out any coaches or anything around where I am yet. So yeah, I was very, very happy coming out of that dressage arena, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, to get both changes, I think both of them were clean. They're a little bit green, but both are clean, and honestly, I was just happy with that. Especially because my test in New Zealand was no, it wasn't great. My test in New Zealand, but so just to get around the dressage arena was a win in my eyes.
And that's a testament to you, really, in your training. If you've not had a coach and you've been able to produce a test like that,
I think I'm very lucky to have the horse I've got. He's pretty cool.
So obviously that first phase went very well indeed. Did you feel the pressure then going into the show jumping? You were in third place after the dressage.
Not too bad. Normally I'm really nervous going into show jumping. It's my least favourite thing to do, but I sort of walked the course and it didn't look too bad, and I just tried to keep myself relaxed, and I knew Tadpole could do it perfectly fine, and just had to stay calm and do what we know how to do, I suppose. Yeah.
And the show jumping was quite tough though, because nobody made the time. Talk us through the show jumping course and why that time was so difficult to make.
I think it's often quite difficult to make at Wandin. It's quite an open course and quite a few jumps and lines, a lot of curving related lines, so you can't really, you sort of have no choice but to keep it the same. And ride what you're given, really. Yeah, we just seem to go really slow for some reason.
Well, like you say, it's hard when you've got lots of related distances and curves to actually be able to make up any time when you're in the ring, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
And, your show jumping went well. So in your head, you were ready to go cross country. What were your first impressions of the cross country course?
Oh my gosh, it looked so tough. I mean, nothing looked super big, but it was so technical. I was actually thinking of, I know Ewan, the course designer, he's sort of a family friend. We know him, and I thought I should text him before the event and say, "Go easy on us, because we haven't done a 4-star in a long time. So can you just make it not too hard?" Anyway, and then I got there and realised I'd forgotten to message him, and yeah, it looked tough. I know a couple of people were saying it was the toughest. It looked tougher than it's been in years, and that was a little bit nerve-wracking hearing that. But I walked the course with Anchor, who's like my not usual coach at squad, and she sort of talked me through everything and made me feel a little bit better and broke it down, and she's like, "No, you can do it, you're fine." So yeah, it was all right.
Was there one particular combination that you were particularly worried about or not?
Yeah, well, all of them. I think like the first one I was a bit worried about, because you're coming down the hill and it was kind of open, and Tadpole's only little, and especially at the start he likes to go quite quick and takes shorter strides, so the fall was going to be a bit hard for us to make. And I also get a bit nervous and want to hold back, but once we got that, I thought it was going to be all right. And then there was, I think it was 14 or 10 actually, was quite hard downhill. It was quite a big gallop fence downhill, curving 5 to then a short 1 stride of skinnies. I thought, oh gosh, what if I miss that turn? Because it's a steep downhill. But got that one, and then you went through the water again, and there was 14 ABC, which was another, like a roll top down the hill, and it was really undulating ground, and they had to like a double of brushes on alternate angles, I think it was. Yeah, it just looked quite ugly one was on uphill, one you had to come up the hill over and then sort of down, up, and then down again 3 strides. It looked really ugly, but it rode well, so that's all right.
That's the most important thing. As long as it rides well, then you're happy. You say Tadpole's only small, but you were the fastest other day in the 4-star short, which is 4.4 time. How did that course ride out there?
Oh my gosh, I thought Tadpole found it quite hard. He doesn't normally get time, even in 4-star. It's quite unusual for him to get time. Which is funny because he was such a bad racehorse, but he, yeah, I don't know. I think he's quite nippy and quick for when the courses are twisty and turny, and like at Adelaide was a good one for him. But yeah, this was just a lot of hills, which I think slowed a lot of them down.
And you mentioned there that he was in fact actually an ex-racehorse, an off-the-track racehorse. Mm. What's your experience been like producing him up through the levels and having an off-the-track racehorse? Because some people are a little bit wary of them, but actually they are incredible animals, aren't they?
Oh my gosh, I think they're the best horses. I think you can't go wrong. Obviously, it's probably sort of tough to find a good one because there's just so many of them. But I think they're so trainable, and they've already been exposed to so much. I was lucky. I bought him from Hayley Coleman, a show jumper, and she'd done a little bit of jumping with him, so all the really hard stuff was done. But yeah, no, I think, and after him I've gotten a couple that from straight from the track, and they're just so easy. Because they've been out and seen things and from such a young age, and yeah, no, I think you can't go wrong with an off the track horse.
Does it give you confidence going cross country knowing you've got that pace behind you? You don't have to really be working for the speed.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I feel like I very rarely have to kick him. Like it's Feels like you're going for a Sunday ride most of the time. You don't have to do anything, just steer.
A Sunday ride around a 4-star track. That sounds amazing. And you mentioned that obviously you're so young, you're only 19, you've just started university. How do you work that juggle, competing whilst trying to go to university, have an education? Because that's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, well, I think I'm quite lucky to have a lot of support around me. I mean, I am doing an equine business course, so they're obviously quite happy for me to go and compete on weekends, and they've been quite flexible with assignments and doing exams and stuff like that. But we just sort of work around it and get it done when we can.
Is he kept at university with you, or do you have a yard locally?
No, yeah, we keep them so I've got 2 at university with me, which is very handy.
Yeah, that makes it easier to be able to fit it all in day-to-day life.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
And what next? Because this has just been an incredible start to 2024, already kicking the year off with a win in the 4-star short. Where do you plan to go next, or what have you got your eyes set on?
Well, I've entered him to Ballarat again, so I'm a bit loose on planning because I don't want to get high hopes and then something go wrong and I don't get to do what I want to do. But I sort of am loosely planning on Melbourne for long. So we'll see how we go. As long as Ballarat goes to plan, we'll go to Melbourne, and then I don't know where to from there. I haven't quite got that far yet.
Well, it sounds like a very exciting plan. Have you got any young horses as well? You mentioned you have another horse at university coming up through the levels. Is there any others we should keep an eye on?
Oh, not yet. No, I've just got one. He's Tadpole Junior. He looks like Tadpole, just a lot bigger and a little bit clumsier, but that's okay. He'll get there one day. I've got a couple of foals. With Mum and I have got some foals together at home, but they're thoroughbred. We've got a thoroughbred mare, and so they're thoroughbred warm blood. But I do definitely plan on keeping on going with off the trackers. I think they're the best.
They're so rewarding to work with because they're so smart, and it's they are really, really great. Well, Molly, thank you so much for finding the time to come and talk to us, because I know you've got a very, very busy schedule, and congratulations on your 4-star win.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I can't believe I'm on this podcast. That's just crazy.
Oh, no, we're so grateful to have you on here, because it's so lovely to hear your story on the weekend, how it went, and the success you're having at such a young age. It really is just fantastic. So there you go, listeners. Keep your eyes peeled for Molly Lines, because she really is one to watch.
Sam Lissington, are you ready to take on Fairfax and Favour's quick fire questions?
Ready.
Okay, let's go. What is your favourite meal?
My favourite meal is probably a platter of any description.
What is the best piece of advice that you have ever been given?
Probably a Winnie the Pooh quote, which says, "Sometimes the only means of travel is a leap of faith."
Oh, I love that. That's great. What is your go-to Fairfax and Favour boot?
Definitely the Rockingham, and I've got it in mahogany, which I've found is great because actually I can wipe off the dirt and the mud and give the leather a nice oil, and they look good as new.
Sam Lissington, thank you for playing Fairfax and Favour's quickfire questions.
Thanks for having me.